Today, we're going to be talking about mental health among teenagers. This is a serious topic because as teenagers, we face stress, anxiety, and sometimes even depression from school, expectations from families and friends, college prep, and even social media. So, this has become an increasingly big issue here because it gets overwhelming for many teenagers like me, and it is no good news. So today I have decided to sit down with one of my classmates to talk about the ongoing problems that teenagers have been facing regarding anxiety, stress, and we'll also be discussing how our schools and communities can help us make us feel better so we won't get depressed later. So without further ado, let's get started. So I am here interviewing with my friend from school. He is also a classmate of mine. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, no problem. Let's get started with the first question. So, what do you think are the biggest sources of stress for high school students today? Academics, social life, family expectations, or something else?
Um, I think it's a mix of three of academic, social life, and family expectations, as you said. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like for academics, a lot of students are stressed about like tests and like memorizing vocabulary
Oh
words
yeah,
from
I can relate to
English.
that.
And social life, I mean, a lot of students are relying on social media nowadays, and some might want to like post videos, and also for family expectations as well. Like a lot of families, like a lot of students need family time, and when they don't get the time to, they'll get stressed from like academics as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on family expectations. It's because from my personal perspective, when I was just a kid, I remember I was 8. Every time I had a test, I would just get so stressful because if I don't get a 90 or above, I know that my parents are going to be really upset and that I would bring dishonor to my family and their forefathers. So it really is it actually is very stressful for me to think about family expectations. And without further ado, let's move on to the second question. How do you think social media affects teenagers' mental health? Does it help people connect? Or do you think it causes more anxiety and comparison?
I think it connects people. I don't really think it causes like anxiety because I would say most teenagers nowadays they use social media to watch like videos on like TikTok, Instagram, and all that to relieve stress and also kill time as well. I don't think they really get stressed from it
Mm-hmm.
unless they do like post videos and maybe they'll get like a lot of attention, then
Oh
they'll get
yeah,
stressed from
yeah.
that way. But overall, I don't think it
Mm-hmm.
really causes anxiety.
Yeah, I see where that comes from.
And I would say it just really connects. And also, lots of people, um, lots of teenagers use social media to also connect as well.
Yeah, that is a very very good claim you have there. So in my opinion, I feel like social media, in fact, does connect most of the time. So on social media, I usually discover a lot of people who are just like me or have similar interests, and we elaborate further on our shared topics, and that creates a positive relationship between me and some people. But but actually, from my experience, more often times I find so I am a person who uses Instagram a lot, especially Instagram Reels,
Hmm.
and I find tons of negative content on that specific website, and I've seen people like treating each other in malicious ways, and such so malicious that I feel like sometimes the content creators they might face depression or just stop uploading for a pretty long time. And I see where your claim is coming from. I really like that. So let's move on to the next question. How do you personally handle the pressure of grades, college prep, and extracurricular activities? Do you think schools do enough to support students' emotional well-being?
I personally handle the pressure of grades and also possibly college preparation by like listening to music. I definitely listen to music. But I mainly play games to relieve my pressure on
Hmm.
all that.
Oh yeah.
And I also sometimes go to my friend's house as well to relieve stress and pressure. I don't think schools really do enough to support students' emotional well-being. As a teenager at school, I don't really see anything uh, about like helping us like emotionally. But uh, yeah, pretty much.
All right. So, in my opinion, I feel like I personally handle academic stress by just playing games and watching anime or perhaps just watch Netflix. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I often do go to my friend's house because I feel like when I'm around my friends, I just suddenly feel I just feel better. I just all the stress factors in my body are now gone when I'm with friends. So yeah, I can see why you wanted to hang out with friends, and I believe that everybody should start hanging out with their friends more because it's only gonna get more stressful from here. And my next question is, how would you know if you or your peers are facing stress or depression?
Um, I would say when I see my peers that are like down, then I would definitely think that they're stressed. Um, and and actually, I also see a lot of teenagers and also my peers as well. I would know if they're stressed like if they tell me that they got like a really bad score on their exam, or they think that
Mm-hmm.
the test that they took was like really
Oh
hard,
yeah,
and I
tests.
would definitely relate that to a lot of stress, and I would definitely see that from them.
Mm-hmm. So here's how I usually identify how people get depression. So actually, people get a lot of people usually they start showing symptoms of depression. Like their first symptom, I feel like it's always like excessive eating. They eat a so one of my I know one friend. He is currently a freshman at another school. He has seven classes to take, and he has like four APs he needs to handle, and he's only a freshman. Just think about it. Life is really hard for him. He's been getting a lot of homework, a lot of stress from his parents, and a lot of stress from his extracurricular activities. So he starts eating a lot and a lot, trying to feel something about, almost as if he is feeling a part of him that is almost empty at this point after all this school stuff and academic stuff. So yeah, excessive eating is also another part I find usually about people that are going through depression or are simply just down.
I see.
All right, next question. My apologies once. My apologies. This is a little bit. Do you feel like it's easy for teenagers our age to talk about mental health problems such as anxiety or depression, or do you think there's still stigma around it?
I feel like I don't think it's that easy for teens our age to talk about mental health problems because I feel like most of them don't really want to talk about it because it's just I feel like us teenagers don't see mental health problems like a really huge factor in our life. But I would say that we would definitely feel it. If we do feel it ourselves, then we would definitely think that
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's definitely a problem for
Yeah.
us. And I feel like there's definitely still some stigma as it's better than before, but people still worry about being judged or labeled as weak if they admit they're struggling and
Mm-hmm.
all that.
Yeah. So this is from my experience. I do agree that there is still stigma, and yes, there's a lot of stigma in many parts of the world today regarding to mental health, especially from where I'm from. I remember from where I'm from, nobody even cares about the term mental health. Some of the older generations from my country, they think that mental health is just straight up non-existent, like it doesn't exist, and if you have any mental problems, you're just weak and stuff. When that is clearly not the case. So from my experience, I remember when I was still a kid, there's this kid in a neighboring class who has been facing some who has been facing some problems with depression because he has trouble learning. I, I feel like I do remember he's on the spectrum actually, so he's been getting a lot. He needs support, but he isn't getting the support that he needs. In fact, he is actually facing constant judgment from his peers and even his teachers, even teachers and parents. Everybody just thinks that he is not normal when he is just one of us. So that definitely leads him to be prone to mental health problems such as depression. And yes, he would later be depressed. And I never really heard from him ever since. But our teachers just weren't there to support them because they think that, oh, oh yeah, we're not even assigning you that much schoolwork, and we're not even bullying you from all for all reasons, and you're feeling depressed. You're just weak. That's what they think, but in reality, that is not the case, and it just really hurts me to see why there's still so much stigma around societies like this in my society. And I mean, in America, that this kind of stigma is not common, but it still exists.
I see. I can definitely relate to that.
All right. Next question. When you or your friends feel very overwhelmed, what kind of things actually help? Like music, exercise, talking to someone, or taking breaks from social media?
I would say music is definitely a huge factor as well. I would also say talking to friends and also family, but I do value family a lot because they do help me. They help me calm me, and I feel like very connected with them when I'm talking with them. Even as myself, my most of my family is in a different country, and I usually like to talk to them just because I love them so much, and also they help me with everything as well. And I just feel so relaxed when I talk to them, and also when I do talk to them about different things as well, that definitely helps me feel more relaxed.
Yeah. I am glad that you are able to reach out to your family whenever you need help. The case for me is that most of my family are also in another country, and many of them are busy, so I wouldn't be able to talk to them as much. And the only factor and that only leads me to music. Whenever I listen to music, I imagine myself in a different dimension where stress does not exist, and I am free to take. I just feel like whenever I listen to music, I transform into a whole different person, completely free of school, completely free of stress, completely free of the world that I currently live in, and just feeling that is like even better. All right, our second to last question here today is: who do you think plays the biggest role in supporting teens' mental health? Parents, friends, teachers, or counselors from school, and why?
I would say pretty much all of them, but I do think that it's family and also friends, just because that we're more connected to them. Oh, and also parents as well, just because we're so connected with them, and pretty much if we have any problems, then we can just always reach out to them. I know that parents, of course, 24/7. Um, Friends, maybe not 24/7, and also family, maybe not 24/7, but pretty much they are they play a huge factor when it comes to uh, when it comes to fixing like mental health within us.
Yeah, I also agree. I do think that friends actually provide the most support when you are in your moments of need, whenever you are feeling down and stuff. Because I feel like because from my perspective, I am not a person who usually has friends. I've had trouble making friends throughout middle school and elementary school. So whenever I'm in my time of need, basically nobody was there. My parents, they sometimes they wouldn't understand my struggles, and because they often face very different circumstances as me. So whenever I have friends, I will just go reach out to them whenever I have trouble, because I know that, and I trust them. I know that they will definitely help me whenever I have problems. All right.
I see.
So last question. If you this was actually pretty important. If you could suggest one change in your school or society to improve mental health for our generation, what would it be?
I would say giving more students time off from school. I think that's a very, very huge factor, and I feel like lots of teenagers do really need the time off from school, especially when you said about like a freshman like taking like 7 classes. I know that they'll definitely feel overwhelmed and everything, and I really do feel that we just need like extra time from school, and even like a day, it just makes a difference. And it also fulfills like family needs and everything, and we just have like so much time like just to like it makes us feel like better like after school, like when at school like you have to like sit down every day, and sometimes you do get bored of it as well. I can really relate to that. And pretty much, yeah, I really do feel that we should definitely get more time off from school.
Yeah, I do agree with I do agree with most of the things you just said. And one thing I would like to add on, one thing I would elaborate more on giving students free time is I feel like school should actually just be 4 days long, because I feel like 2 days of weekends are just simply not enough for students, because most students my age, like after Friday, they still have a lot of extracurricular activities, and the Saturday alone enough is not enough to help them get the rest they need, because the second half of Sunday basically means that it's the end of it all. I still gotta go to school next week. They're not gonna feel good at the second half of Sunday. So I do feel like giving them I do feel like giving them an extra day off will really benefit them both physically and mentally.
I see.
And that concludes our season for this month. Next month, I will be interviewing a teacher from my school about similar topics. So make sure you people stay tuned. We'll see you next season.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for showing up.